There were challenges which were identified where banks or lenders believed that we can settle them outside NCLT, and the process was done. This process we have been running since May, and after examining all the issues, board we had decided that they in any case will be referred to NCLT. For rest of the 7, it is at various stages of approval with the various lenders, and trying to complete the process next week. And if it is not completed in next week, then probably wherever we are unable to complete the process, then the only option left will be reference to this. No, 7. They all are in advanced discussion. Still, like if there is any delay on the part of the lender, then it may so happen that we may have to make a reference. But we are trying to resolve it. The sustainable debt for all these assets as required by 12th February circular. That process is complete. Technical evaluation is complete. So what remains to be done is just the documentation part and sanctioned by all the lenders. So their board meetings are on different dates, and the effort is that in next 1 week, all the documentation is done, and in most of the cases, there is a buyer, and these assets will be sold. Mostly it is like the benchmark which has emerged is about 3 crore rupees per megawatt. Individual accounts I will not comment, and as far as bank is concerned, even when I did the quarterly earnings call, I had said that in this year, bank will be in profit. When I say bank will be in profit, it means whatever loss we have shown in June, we will be able to not only recover it, but show profit in this year. And hopefully from September itself, bank should start showing profit. No, but what we have done also is that lot of provisioning bank has done up in March quarter as well as in June. The entire mark-to-market provision on treasury, despite dispensation available to the bank that we could have spread over 4 quarters, but we have taken it in 1 quarter. So the intent is that take the blows upfront, and then from September onwards, start returning to the market. I am hoping that September quarter onwards we should. But during the year, I have no doubt that we will be in profit. That process is going on. Consultations are going on. Up to 10% I can acquire. That is what is permitted by Reserve Bank of India. Any bank, we are allowed to acquire only up to 10%. So that we will do. The recognition part, as I said, that March it has been, that in June most of the banks, if you have seen the results, the NPA has started coming down. And this trend will continue. In which quarter, what happens, that will depend upon quite a few factors. So that should get resolved. Some power assets we are trying to resolve, as I said. So the overall gross NPA as well as net NPA, both will be coming down, and our provision coverage ratio is increasing every quarter. In last 1 year, our provision coverage ratio has improved by 11%, 1100 basis points, which is a very remarkable achievement. And when you ask this question that how the bank will show profit, this is the reason gives me confidence that more or less our provision coverage ratio is today aligned with what we call the loss given default. So whatever accounts are NPA, 54% is what it means around 46% recovery in corporate accounts, which is feasible. The provision coverage ratio, the way it works, that RBI circular of 12th February, what it said that whatever was the norms for asset classification, income recognition, and provision, whatever were the existing norms, they will continue. So whenever an account becomes substandard, the provision requirement is 15%. And then the aging provision comes in. After 1 year, it becomes D1. Then the provision coverage requirement goes up. D2, second year, provision coverage requirement goes up. So this 27th August per se would not have any impact as far as the provisioning goes. What impacts provisioning is the age of NPA. Say for example, many NPAs are already in say D2 category, and after 6 months if it becomes D2, D3, whether it is NCLT or non-NCLT, bank has to provide. We have not received any such proposal. So whatever, as much as you read in media, I also read in media. So any proposal which comes, we always examine with an open mind. ATM modernization we are doing in a big way. One is that whatever were the old ATMs, we are replacing them. And second is we are installing a new software across all our ATMs, and that RFP process is over and rollout has started. And what does it? It does it that it gives the capability to the bank to do certain changes and configurations centrally, and it is very important, particularly from the cyber security perspective. Because if you want to do any updation, so rather than going to individual machines, bank will be able to do it centrally. Cash crunch, I think now it is more or less eased. Even Telangana, we had a problem about 4 or 5 months back. But currently our ATM availability across the country and including Telangana, it has improved. I don't think there is any cash crunch in any of the geographies across the country. Even Telangana, there is a tremendous improvement. So cash, of course, SBI is what I call is we have more cash pay because of the size of the number of accounts which we handle. We handle 42 crore savings bank account. So as a result of that, our ATM card, 28 crore is the ATM card. So SBI always needs cash to dispense. Our payments are more than what the cash we receive. So that depends upon how much cash gets recycled and come to the bank and how much support we get from Reserve Bank of India in periodic augmentation of cash supply. So NCLT 1 and 2, NCLT 1, there is one big account where we are expecting judgment anytime. And rest all are at various stages, either NCLT or NCLT. They have to give their orders. But otherwise, all other process, who will be the buyer, at what price it will be changing hands. So all those processes are complete. It is just the order from either NCLT or NCLT as far as NCLT 1 is concerned. NCLT 2, they are in different stages, but hopefully they will also be resolved by 31st March. No, 28 is our NCLT 2 and remaining is NCLT 1. So what happens that today NCLT 1, we are holding 71% provision. When the case gets resolved, it impacts the bank in 2 ways. One is your NPA comes down. Second is what is your impact on the P&L. The impact on P&L depends upon how much provision you are holding and how much is the recovery. So today, State Bank of India, given our estimate of recovery of about 52%, so I am holding good 18%, almost 18%, which I believe that we should be able to get right. The average, I have told you that NCLT 1, it is about 52%. Rather, the other way, sorry, 52% is the recovery, 48% recruiting, but still I think now most of the sports persons don't find it attractive to join a public sector bank. At one point of time, I had the Indian cricket team, entire cricket team with the State Bank of India. But those were different times. Today, will any cricketer come and join the State Bank of India? That is the question. So things have changed also on the sports front. But what is the latest probability? I don't have an update. The first thing I did when I took over as chairman, first thing I did is I issued a circular on work-life balance, which was very appreciated by our staff. But it is a different matter that my own work-life balance has gone for a toss. But I keep on insisting for my staff that that is very important. And I personally don't believe in creating stress while working. And we are recruiting more people also. I think it is a little over 8,000 clericals and 2,000 provisionals. So that recruitment process is also going on. And it is all these steps which recently we have taken, they are more directed towards the healthcare and welfare of the staff. So I agree that we cannot have a stress point. The pressure on profit, if you look at on the banks yearly P&L, largely it is coming from the provisioning of the bank. We did last year a provision of 70,000 crore. Year before that, on a consolidated basis, we did a provision of 55,000 crore. As our provisioning requirement start coming down, which is happening, automatically we will come in profit. What is impacted, even in June probably I could have been in at least marginal profit, if not a big profit. But the mark-to-market provision was very unexpected, and we did not expect that yields movement. It is a very unusual yields movement which has happened. So between March and June itself, there was a 50 basis point yield movement, and the impact on the bank's P&L was nearly more than 6,000 crore. And as I said, that SBI we decided that we will take it in one quarter rather than in 4 quarters, so that the future earnings don't get impacted. And in the previous year, there were a lot of interest reversals, so our interest income is growing. Other than treasury, our other income is growing. Expenses are under control. Once, I think now going forward, the impact of mark-to-market may not be there because already we have provided at 7.90 and yields are below that. And the impact of provisioning, loan loss provision is also progressively coming down. So that's how you will be in profit. And interest rate seems to be stabilizing now. And I don't foresee a major change as far as the interests are concerned. Our CASA deposit is doing very well, particularly savings bank. That is our major, I call it a major franchise as far as savings bank is concerned. Lending more is still on the consumer, which is home loans, car loans, salary loans, personal loans, retail. And SME is showing a good pickup. And corporate also, because now more or less we have put our house in order, so we are looking for some good lending opportunities. And I think this year the corporate lending will definitely remain. We have said 10% growth, 10% growth in advances. Sectors, I wouldn't say sector specific, but the cement sector is doing very well. The road sector is doing very well. The steel sector is doing well. Auto and auto component is doing well. Investment is happening in renewable energy. Investment is happening in oil and gas sector. Even a few days ago, 86 cities, the city gas supply project, those have been awarded. So this is these are the sectors which are showing good. No, as compared to last year, when the budget happened, the strength was 278,000, and after that, retirements have happened and voluntary retirement also happened. Currently, our strength is 260. By the time these people will join, quite a few will retire also. So I think the number by March 19, it will remain around. The reason is that people who retire. So what we have said is that if bank has filed complaint against any of the staff or officer for any misdemeanor, then we will not bear the cost. But where bank believes that the officer is not on the wrong side, but still there is a investigation, or then he has to travel, or he has to bear medical expenses, so bank will support. We will go to 1% again, and this year also certain projects where we have already committed. Those are continuing, but this activity today itself, everything is around CSR. Our CGM has organized so many activities. I feel that the field is wide open for the state bank. We have the capability to give small loans, and we have the capability to give large tickets. The process improvement which has been done in the last quarter, 30th June, particularly around stressed asset management and corporate credit, certain changes in the policy. So, bank is now in a position to revive the growth in credit in a risk mitigation. That is where the opportunities for state bank will come. For example, in one case, we just wrote a check of 25,000. So nobody can do. Only SBI can do. As I said that we are not making any fancy projections, because the State Bank's portfolio itself is now very large, 20 lakh crore. So if we grow at 10% itself, it becomes 2 lakh crore, which is not a small amount. And don't want to compromise on the asset quality. That is also, we have to be very conscious and mindful, having suffered so much in the past. So 10% is what I believe we should be. So the provision coverage ratio, the way it works, that RBI circular of 12th February, what it said that whatever was the norms for asset classification, income recognition and provision, whatever were the existing norms, they will continue. So whenever an account becomes substandard, the provision requirement is 15%. And then the aging provision comes in. After 1 year, it becomes D1. Then the provision coverage requirement goes up. D2, second year, provision coverage requirement goes up. So this 27th August per se would not have any impact as far as the provisioning goes. What impacts provisioning is the age of NPA. Say for example, many NPAs are already in say D2 category. And after 6 months, if it becomes D2, D3, whether it is NCLT or non-NCLT, bank has to provide. We have not received any such proposal. So whatever, as much as you read in media, I also read in media. Any proposal which comes, we always examine with an open mind. ATM modernization we are doing in a big way. One is that whatever were the old ATMs, we are replacing them. And second is we are installing a new software across all our ATMs, and that RFP process is over and rollout has started. And what does it? That it gives the capability to the bank to do certain changes and configurations centrally, and it is very important, particularly from the cyber security perspective. Because if you want to do any updation, so rather than going to individual machines, bank will be able to do it centrally. Cash crunch, I think now it is more or less eased. Even Telangana, we had a problem about 4 or 5 months back. But currently our ATM availability across the country and including Telangana, it has improved. I don't think there is any cash crunch in any of the geographies across the country. Even Telangana, there is a tremendous improvement. So cash, of course, SBI is what I call is we have more cash pay because of the size of the number of accounts which we handle. We handle 42 crore savings bank account. So as a result of that, our ATM card, 28 crore ATM card. So SBI always needs cash to dispense. Our payments are more than what the cash we receive. So that depends upon how much cash gets recycled and come to the bank and how much support we get from Reserve Bank of India in periodic augmentation of cash supplies. So NCLT 1 and 2, NCLT 1, there is one big account where we are expecting judgment anytime. And rest all are at various stages, either NCLT or NCLT. They have to give their orders. But otherwise, all other process, who will be the buyer, at what price it will be changing hands. So all those processes are complete. It is just the order from either NCLT or NCLT as far as NCLT 1 is concerned. NCLT 2, they are in different stages, but hopefully they will also be resolved by 31st March 2000. No, 28 is our NCLT 2 and remaining is NCLT 1. So what happens that today NCLT 1, we are holding 71% provision. When the case gets resolved, it impacts the bank in 2 ways. One is your NPA comes down. Second is what is your impact on the P&L. The impact on P&L depends upon how much provision you are holding and how much is the recovery. So today, State Bank of India, given our estimate of recovery of about 52%, so I am holding good 18%, almost 18%, which I believe that we should be able to get correct. The average, I have told you that NCLT 1, it is about 52%. Rather, the other way, sorry, 52% is the recovery, 48%. Even we were recruiting, but still I think now most of the sports persons don't find it attractive to join a public sector bank. At one point of time, I had the Indian cricket team, entire cricket team with the State Bank of India. But those were different times. Today, will any cricketer come and join the State Bank of India? That is the question. So things have changed also on this sports front. But what is the latest probability? I don't have enough. First thing I did when I took over as chairman, first thing I did is I issued a circular on work-life balance, which was very appreciated by our staff. But it is a different matter that my own work-life balance has gone for a loss. But I keep on insisting for my staff that that is very important. And I personally don't believe in creating stress while working. And we are recruiting more people also. I think it is a little over 8,000 clericals and 2,000 provisionals. So that recruitment process is also going on. And it is all these steps which recently we have taken, they are more directed towards the healthcare and welfare of the staff. So I agree that we cannot have a stress work. The pressure on profit, if you look at on the banks yearly behavior, largely it is coming from the provisioning of the bank. We did last year a provision of 70,000 crore. Year before that, on a consolidated basis, we did a provision of 55,000. As our provisioning requirement start coming down, which is happening, automatically will come in profit. What has impacted, even in June probably I could have been in at least marginal profit, if not a big profit. But the mark-to-market provision was very unexpected, and we did not expect that yields movement will, it is a very unusual yields movement which has happened. So between March and June itself, there was a 50 basis point yield movement, and the impact on the bank's P&L was nearly more than 6,000 crore. And as I said, that SBI we decided that we will take it in one quarter rather than in 4 quarters, so that the future earnings don't get impacted. And in the previous year, there were a lot of interest reversals, so our interest income is growing. Other than treasury, our other income is growing. Expenses are under control. Once, I think now going forward, the impact of mark-to-market may not be there because already we have provided at 7.90 and yields are below that. And the impact of provisioning, loan loss provision is also progressively coming down. So that's how we will be in profit. And interest rate seems to be stabilizing now. And I don't foresee a major change as far as the interests are concerned. Our CASA deposit is doing very well, particularly savings bank. That is our major, I call it a major franchise as far as savings bank is concerned. Lending more is still on the consumer, which is home loans, car loans, salary loans, personal loans, retail. And SME is showing a good pickup. And corporate also, because now more or less we have put our house in order, so we are looking for some good lending opportunities. And I think this year the corporate lending will definitely remain. We have said 10% growth, 10% growth in accounts. I wouldn't say any sector specific, but the cement sector is doing very well. The road sector is doing very well. The steel sector is doing well. Auto and auto component is doing well. Investment is happening in renewable energy. Investment is happening in oil and gas sector. Even a few days ago, 86 cities, the city gas supply project, those have been awarded. So this is these are the sectors which are showing. No, as compared to last year, when the merger happened, the strength was 278,000, and after that, retirements have happened and voluntary retirement also happened. Currently, our strength is 260. By the time these people will join, quite a few will retire also. So I think the number by March 19, it will remain around. The reason is that people who retire. So what we have said is that if bank has filed complaint against any of the staff or officer for any misdemeanor, then we will not bear the cost. But where bank believes that the officer is not on the wrong side, but still there is a investigation, or then he has to travel, or he has to bear medical expenses, so bank will support. We will go to 1% again. And this year also certain projects where we have already committed. Those are continuing. But this activity today itself, everything is around CSR. Our CGM has organized so many activities. I feel that the field is wide open for the state bank. We have the capability to give small loans and give we have the capability to give large ticket size. The process improvement which has been done in the last quarter, 30th June, around particularly around stressed asset management and corporate credit, certain changes in the policy. So, bank is now in a position to revive the growth in credit in a risk mitigation. That is where the opportunities for state bank will come. For example, in one case, we just wrote a check of 25,000. So nobody can do it. Only SBI can do it. As I said that we are not making any fancy projections because State Bank's portfolio itself is now very large, 20 lakh crore. So if we grow at 10% itself, it becomes 2 lakh crore, which is not a smaller. And don't want to compromise on the asset quality. That is also we have to be very conscious and mindful, having suffered so much in the past. So 10% is what I believe we should.